Hi everybody. Today is Sunday and this afternoon a friend of mine popped by and we were kind of at a loss, kind of what to do on this kind of windy, cooler Sunday. So she said, I'd like to pick out some colours and you put them on a canvas for me. And I said, well, what kind of painting would you like? And she said, she really was open to any idea. She said pink a lot. Don't usually work with much pink. And so we started putting some colours down and I kind of freestyled with the colours and had a little bit of fun with it. She said, I kind of want something that looks kind of organic. She had just come back from some red canyons in Utah, and she said, I have that in my mind, kind of like stone, and I was kind of working with pink and stone and canyon and trying to conjure up in my mind how I could maybe create that on this canvas. This canvas is 2 foot square, and it is a wooden canvas because I particularly like those. And I quickly primed it with some white acrylic paint and we started selecting some colors quite randomly. And I'm going to go through what those colors are. So the very light pink that you saw me put down first is a Krylon ColorMaster spray paint, and the color is Ballet Slipper. I picked up that color a while ago and I'd yet to use it, so it was kind of exciting to that she pulled that color as her first choice. So the light pink is a spray paint in resin, obviously, and it's called Ballet Slipper. The kind of interesting pink that I'm putting down right now is the other spray paint that I will be using in this piece, and that is Rustoleum metallic, and it's called Champagne Pink, and it's a spray paint. Now the other pinks, kind of towards the center of the piece, there is quite a rich kind of reddish pink, and that one is a PearlEx pigment and it's called Super Russet. So there's a lot of metallic going on in this piece. The very deep, dark, almost browny kind of pinky red is another PearlEx pigment, and it's actually called Blue Russet. When you look at the color close up, it really is a kind of a deep pinky red color, but it has a little bit of a color shift as when you move it under light. And I guess that's where the blue russet comes from, because I wouldn't say it particularly looks blue, but it definitely has some blue tones. When you move it around, it's kind of an iridescent color. The other pink that I'm using, kind of a really bright pink, it's kind of difficult to see. I'm trying to give you an idea where it is. Towards the center, I've kind of overlapped the soft pink with another pink. That pink is called Pink Gold, and that is a PearlEx paint too. So I'm putting down these colors pretty quick and I'm very random. In my mind, I'm thinking of something organic. I'm thinking of canyons. I'm thinking of transition of color. So I'm going to have to go for a lot of overlap. So that's what I'm doing. I'm getting a lot of paint down in the resin. I'm also using a golden interference paint, and this is violet, and violet interference paint is definitely one to check out. It's a very iridescent color. It's kind of a cream pearl color, but it has an absolute color shift, and it flips to being kind of a really quite a metallic pinky violet color. Absolutely gorgeous. And that's what I'm putting down right now. That is the interference. And again, you know, these colors are just being pulled off the shelf and selected for me to use. And so it's kind of exciting, really, to have somebody else select your colors, especially when I look at this palette. Lots and lots of pinks. Not the kind of colors I normally would select, to be honest, unless I was maybe commissioned to do a piece. So I kind of now heating with my blowtorch to get some sort of liquidity to the resin, and kind of considering in my mind what's going to be the best technique to give that kind of what I'm aiming for, which is kind of a rock fossiling, kind of rock canyon, red canyon. Trying to use my imagination, and I'm using my heat gun right now, and I'm not going to use that for long. You've seen me just put it down, kind of freestyling really in my mind of how do you create that kind of organic feel. So I decided, you know what, I think this is going to be a tilt. So I've heated the resin so the viscosity has got thinner, and I'm able to move it around and enable the colors to do a lot of overlapping, and that's what you're seeing me do right now. And I'm kind of encouraged already because I'm seeing some kind of organic transition, canyons, rock. I'm really trying my hard to create something that it looks kind of natural when you consider the palette of so many pinks. So I've just actually mixed the color myself that I pulled off the shelf, and that is a DecoArt Americana Decor metallic paint, and that paint is called sterling silver. So I've mixed it into some resin, and now I'm actually moving that through the piece because I felt like I needed to give some definition, some kind of shape for the eye to follow, and just kind of create kind of that kind of fossiled kind of rock kind of formation. So I've put that sterling silver metallic down, and then I'm just coming behind with some of the pink gold PearlEx powder pigment in resin, and I'm just trying to give some concept to my piece at the moment. You know, in my mind, I'm trying to race ahead a little bit in my mind and kind of imagine rock formations and Red Canyon at this point. And this is where I'm kind of stepping back and trying to figure what my next step is. I'm bringing in a little bit more of the Ballet Slipper spray paint by Krylon ColorMaster. That's a really pretty pink. And I'm giving it a little bit of definition right now with the Super Russet PearlEx powder. And all the colors that are being selected in this piece will be in the description below, with all the links to Amazon as far as what the products are. I'm taking a moment here. I'm trying to figure what my next color is. I'm looking at the whole piece. I'm still thinking, how do I turn this into kind of rocks and canyon wall and the beautiful colors that you see out west. And at the end of the video, there will be some close-ups, and please hang around for those because it's kind of difficult to see what's truly going on the canvas. And I think you'll be quite surprised when you see the close-ups. I'm still working on the piece. I'm trying to look at the concept at this moment. I got somebody else in my studio and they're talking to me and pointing out elements they like and what they feel, I'm trying to achieve. I just sprayed some 91% alcohol onto my piece. And if you look at the canvas and you imagine it as a clock face, what would be, I guess, about 9 o'clock. There's a soft pink there, and you can see some holes developing. That's the 91% alcohol to a degree. I'm just coming in now with the PearlEx pigment in the blue russet. But it really isn't blue, it's really a kind of an iridescent, kind of deep red pink. But definitely when you put it under the light you can see blue tones, but they're very subtle. And this is the Super Russet PearlEx powder. And if you look at the canvas as a whole and you look towards the center, maybe just below the center, you see there's some kind of effects happening within the piece whilst I'm working on the top. And that's because there's a lot of layering because I tilted the canvas and moved all the colors around. I put them on the canvas with lots of overlap. So there's a lot of interesting effects happening that look quite subtle, but when I show you the close-up here at the end, you'll see that they're kind of interesting. And when you see the close-up at the end, you'll see the pink gold PearlEx powder. In the close-ups, it looks quite gold, but truthfully, it's one of those color-shifting PearlEx powders that, depending on the light and how it lands and the angle, it may look like a very soft pink, or it may look like a very strong gold. And I'm just coming in and I'm kind of layering in some interesting colors over the top of other colors. Trying to define some of the lines, bring back some of the definition to the piece. All the time I'm thinking about Red Canyon and how do you create that in resin art. And what I'm doing there is I got a popsicle stick and I'm dipping it into the resin and then I'm just waving it through the piece and laying down a thin layer of various colors, and I'm trying my best here to bring back the original idea, the concept behind the piece, and that was Red Rock Canyon. I'll be interested to hear your comments on this piece, because this piece definitely took me out of my comfort zone a little bit. And I just went to my studio and checked it, and as it's curing, I have to say, I actually quite like it. So I just put down a little bit more alcohol. And I had a question today, a comment on one of my videos in relation to 91% alcohol and the use of an open flame. And I was asked, do I worry about it being a flammable and creating maybe open flame? That has definitely happened. The thing is, this is my perspective. I'm using a spray bottle with the alcohol. So if you're spraying a light mist onto the piece, and that's what I'm doing essentially, if a flame does happen, the moment you see it, it's gone. It's in the blink of an eye, it's gone. So it's never enough to pull out the fire extinguisher and call the fire brigade. It's not that kind of deal. It's very subtle. I've seen some videos where some resin artists have put down a lot of alcohol and put the flame on there, and there's been briefly fire, but I've never seen that. I'm putting it down in very fine mist, and most of it is evaporating very quickly. And some of that is because resin, as it cures, it stays warm. So I've already torched this piece, so it's warm. The canvas is warm. So when you put down a spray of alcohol, it evaporates very quickly. And this one I don't have to worry about the sides because it's going to be framed. It's actually going to go into a bedroom that's very light colours with some very subtle pink. Now what you're seeing me put down right now was my friend said to me, you know what it needs? It needs glitter. Now I was going to put my hand out for the silver glitter and put some silver glitter on the piece, but I actually chose to use glass glitter, if you've ever heard of that, German glass glitter. It's very different to the typical silver glitter. It creates some really interesting sparkle in the piece. It's not as, I wouldn't say it's as intense as regular silver glitter. But it is worth checking out if you want something that's kind of interesting. It's German glass glitter, and and I've mixed it into some clear resin, and I'm kind of walking it through various lines within the piece. And I don't want it to be too kind of crazy and sparkly, but I do want the light to be able to catch it. So here's some close-ups. And you'll see there's quite some interesting transitions through the colours. And think about the red rock canyons. That was what I was trying to go for, something very organic. And I think in the end I kind of pulled it off. But you can leave me your comments. I'm interested to hear what you think of the piece. It definitely was something very different to what I'm used to creating. But on the whole, I'm pleased with it. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video.